Unfortunately, he tried pulling over a cop, which is dumb.
For many people, their dream of becoming a police officer doesn't come true, and instead of accepting it, they prefer to dress up as cops and play cops and robbers.
I know you're not a U.S. Marshal. I'm a U.S. Marshal.
Right.
I know for a fact, 100%, you are not with the U.S. Marshals.
You're a deputy sheriff?
Well, I mean, I work at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So, I mean, what?
Let's start with Logan Malik, a man who claims to be a U.S. Marshal. What he doesn't know yet is that several people have reported him, suspecting that he doesn't belong to law enforcement.
What's going on today?
I've been hanging out for a while. I'm off duty. I work for Washingtonville Police Department. I'm about to go into work. I was just sitting up here talking.
I get you.
And I was talking to like just being friendly with people. Did somebody take offense? Sir, put your hands behind your back. I'm an off-duty officer. I have my identification.
Okay. We're just going to check because we're going to call it your first aid police officer.
Oh, okay.
After repeating several times that he's a police officer, it didn't take long for him to realize the trouble he's gotten himself into and start being honest with the officer.
2015.
Now listen, I want to be completely honest, and the reason I did lie to you, and the
Was
reason
there an employee that called us in and she threw it?
Hey, go ahead. The reason I lied to you is because I was embarrassed. Listen, I've always wanted to be a U.S. Marshal, and I'm not saying I did not tell them that I was a U.S. Marshal. I can see how that was misconstrued. I pay attention to their most wanted, and they had a bunch of Aryan Brotherhood dudes on there for most wanted. Honestly, I'm a little nervous. This is my dream career. I will not lie to you. I just want to make sure I'm telling you the truth and not stumbling around.
Surprisingly, after several calls, Malik is indeed a police officer, but not a U.S. Marshal. According to him, he has never identified himself as a U.S. Marshal to the people he has contacted. However, after a long investigation by the officers, the witnesses claimed otherwise.
Through our investigation, we determined that you actually were telling people you were a U.S. Marshal.
I absolutely was not.
Okay. Well,
sir, I'm telling you the honest truth.
That's information we have. Okay. So
I would never in a million years, sir.
I understand that. But I've conducted a thorough investigation.
I believe you.
I've talked to my chief.
Yes, sir.
I've talked to some other people. Okay, you are going to be arrested for impersonating a U.S. Marshal. Okay, it's a misdemeanor to 4th degree. So what we're going to do is take you back to our police station. You'll be booked, and you'll be released on a summons. Okay?
Sir.
What I
expect. There's nothing you can do, but my life's ruined.
And so it was the next day, after spending the night at the police station, the cop, not a U.S. Marshal, lost his job for impersonating a law enforcement officer, just like Brendan Wazinski, a boy who would end up in tears as he was unlucky enough to be caught in the act of pulling over a person for speeding.
Can I talk to you for a minute?
I do.
What's going on? Who do you work for?
I know, I'm under-equipped.
Do you have an ID with you?
And this is all I got on me. Like I said, I'm under-equipped. I was just heading over there to the courthouse.
To the courthouse for what?
To get my crap.
Okay.
The supposed agent sticks to his story and tries to continue disguising it.
Caught him going 120 down I-40. For starters, I know this looks really bad.
Right.
This looks really bad. This screams whacker.
Right. How long you been on?
About 3 years.
About 3 years. If that were true, our protagonist started as a police officer at just 15 years old. After hearing that, the agent would be alarmed.
Just do me a favor, hang tight for a second, okay?
Yes, sir.
And we're gonna, and that's it, all right? Once we're done here, we're done, all right? So just give me a bit, all right?
The agent heads to his car to verify the young man's identity and police position. The problem is that nothing mentioned earlier shows up. So for safety, the agent requests the following.
Hey, Brendan? In the meanwhile, man, until I get somebody out here, man, do me a favor. I'm not going to handcuff you, but I'm going to have you sit in the back of my car, all right? All right. Try to get everything cleared up, man. Just have a seat.
And as in the previous case, it's time to come clean.
Can I talk to you real quick?
Yeah, give me 1 second. What's up, man?
Alright. I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. I'm not a cop.
Okay.
I'm just gonna be
Where'd you get that badge from?
I bought it offline.
Okay. Do me a favor, stay in here, okay? For a second.
The sergeant arrives at the scene and instructs the following.
Hey, Brendan, step out of the vehicle for a second, man. Okay, face the vehicle. at this point right now, you are being under arrest. Do you understand?
And the punishment? As a minor, he wouldn't go to jail, but would receive 1 year of probation for impersonating an officer, just like in the case of Jackson Jones, who was only 1 year older than the previous case. It all started when several calls reported that there was a young man who could be impersonating an officer. Upon arrival, this is the scene.
You're a deputy sheriff?
Well, I mean, I work at the sheriff's office.
Okay.
So, I mean, what?
Were you a corrections officer for the
Yes.
sheriff's office? Okay. Why do you wear a vest outside of the facility? Is this an agency vehicle, or is this your personal vehicle?
This is my Kia.
Okay. You got any kind of employment identification?
Dude, they don't give me that when you work at the jail.
Really? You don't have like an access card or an ID badge or anything for the facility that you work at?
I don't.
With that information, the officers were already alarmed, but when they saw what was written on the vest he was wearing, their suspicions increased even more.
Well, you realize wearing the sheriff on your chest is basically impersonating law enforcement, whether or not you're carrying a gun.
Jackson,
Okay, but are you commissioned to be carrying a gun and do you have arrest powers?
I don't. What do you mean? I don't even have a gun.
That's beside the fact. You're wearing a patch that says sheriff.
The problem for the officers was that they didn't have evidence that he had detained anyone or had engaged in impersonating an officer until a couple of witnesses arrived and said the following.
He goes, I'm a undercover cop. My partner, I run with the highway patrolman. And I said, so, just be curious, you look pretty young. How old are you? He goes, I'm 22 years old, just turned 22. I was like, man, you're pretty young to be a cop.
After this couple, the officers have enough evidence that the supposed sheriff has been impersonating an officer, so he is detained.
Turn around and face the other way. Put your hands behind your back. You're under arrest for impersonating law enforcement, all right? And then you also have a charge for transporting an open container.
Curiously, at the last moment of the arrest, his question gives him away, highlighting the young man's inexperience.
Because we didn't confirm what we know now until we talked to the RP. Reporting party? Okay, well that's because you're not law enforcement, so, all right?
Fortunately, being a minor, he also avoids jail time, but not like the next case, because at the moment he was caught impersonating, he was on probation, a fake cop who was pulling over people on the streets with the bad luck of pulling over an off-duty cop.
I just got this thing off of Amazon,
What thing?
a siren.
And you try and pull people over?
No.
He says he's not pulling over anyone, although the witness, who happens to be a law enforcement officer, says otherwise.
That's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that you got behind him, hit your light and your horn, put him to the curb, stop behind him for several seconds, and then sped around him.
No, I didn't do that.
That's not what I heard.
No, I would never do that.
The problem arises when the officers find out that the fake cop is on probation, and it's very likely that he will end up in jail.
If you're on probation for whatever the case is, and I'm sitting here drawing attention, you should literally be going to work, going home, and that's it. You shouldn't be going to any bars. You shouldn't be going anywhere after whatever.
Fortunately, you tried pulling over a cop, which is dumb. Nevertheless, that this is a crime for you impersonating a police officer. You know that, right?
I'm not trying to impersonate no one.
Everything that is occurring right now is pointing that way.
After gathering sufficient evidence, they managed to handcuff him and take him to the police station. The young man, only 19 years old while behind the car, admitted that his dream was to be a law enforcement officer, confirming all suspicions.